shift calm, but the night gets loud. Tango hunter in the fog, standing tall in the shroud. Heartbeat thumping like a killer in the crowd. Scratch marks burning while I'm moving through the cloud. Military mind when I'm looping on a jet. Discipline steady when the chase starts again. Dead mode patience, but the moment I ascend, I'm a red rank soldier with a toolkit in my head. Flashlight in the grip, yeah, I'm clicking with intent. Every killer in the lobby wonder where the hunter went. Tech, train, brain, every path is mapped and bent. I can dare hard to a hit with a frame, perfect sprint. Never panic in the terror radius, I stay cold. Every pellet are precise, every mind game bold. I've been trained for the pressure since before I got old. Now I'm running these trials like a story I told. Fog shift, tango in the moonlight. Pow. Killers in the cornfield. Pow. Discipline in every footstep. Pow. Day by day, but the night they bow. Every chase I'm winning. Pow. Every hook I'm breaking. Pow. Tango hunter in the trials. Pow. Entity is watching, make it bow. Make it bow.
Oh, hi, thanks for checking in. I'm still a piece of garbage. Oh, hi, thanks for checking in. I'm still a piece of garbage.
Give me fuel, give me fire, give me that which I desire. There can be only one.
Can you hear me? Testing. There we go. Now I'm seeing activity. Okay, I just had to refresh it. Testing.
Attention Alien Army, we do have a raid incoming.
Testing.
I repeat,
There we go.
raid incoming.
Testing. Dude, I don't know what is going on with my microphone. I don't know if it's voice mod or my system settings. Thank you for the raid, Moody. We're going over some Streamer.bot stuff. So appreciate you guys. Shazzy, I think you were in here, Shazzy. You were. Zilla Verily Games, thank you for coming in. Stubby Doo, thank you for coming in. So when you extract the Streamer.bot, it's going to go to a file, and you do not have to run an install on it. There is no installation wizard. It is literally executable. You will launch it. It's a very lightweight program. I recommend right-clicking it and pinning it to your start. If you don't do that, you're going to have to go into the file folder every single time and launch it from the file folder. So when you download it and extract the files, find out where you extracted it to, and then pin it to your start, because otherwise you're going to have a hassle every time. And there's like tutorials on all this stuff too, on how to do the setup and everything. So real quick, I'm just going to go over like the homepage stuff here. This is what the application is going to look like. If you saw my stream when I first started, I also had difficulties. You saw a little bit of it there. When you look at tutorials or videos, if it shows the white interface, like it looks like it's from Windows 98, that is the old interface before they updated it. Most of the stuff has stayed the same. It's just a better user interface. So it's a little bit easier on the eyes, a little bit easier to use. But the functionality is still basically the same. So, like I said, it's lightweight and powerful. Like the file is very small, and it runs locally on your PC. You do not have to download anything else to get this program to work. You will literally just connect it to Twitch, connect it to OBS or Streamlabs, and you'll be able to stream, and you'll be able to control your channel points, but only the channel points you create through the application. So if you have other channel points that are already created,
in. I'm still a piece of garbage.
hey Jillbean, thank you for coming in. You'll have to either duplicate them or delete them and then redo them in the application to get them to work, or well, to be able to control them in the application. They'll still work on Twitch, but like I said, if you want to control them from the app, you have to create them in the app, and I'll show you why that's important. But anyways, we'll move on. So
It's Mr. 305 checking in for the remix.
Zilla, thank you for checking in. Appreciate it. All right, so the first thing I want to tell everybody about, Cloud checking in. All right, there we go. So all I did was I clicked on the docs button, and it took me to docs.streamer.bot. This is very basic information in here, but I wanted to show just a couple of things in here. One is the installation. Like I said, you'll download it, you'll extract it. It tells you do not put it in a sync storage as OneDrive. I agree with that. It can cause connectivity problems in the application if it's trying to sync with the cloud while you're using it. So just avoid that. This I didn't know because it has, okay, that makes sense though. So don't run it as administrator because it runs on C#. So if we come down, Twitch, OBS, and the extras. Where's Twitch? Twitch is gonna be up here. Yeah. It gives you basic rundown of Twitch. It does not show you how to connect it to Twitch in here. It just shows you the, yeah, it shows you, oh, here we go. It does. So this is the old interface. you will have to connect it to Twitch. There is a broadcaster account and a bot account. You can use your main account for both if you want. It just means every single time something happens in the chat, it'll be posted from your account, not a bot account. Like if you look at mine is iTangoAI in the chat. That's my bot account. So you would basically create another account in Twitch.
What did you do with all the rum?
Specifically for the bot.
Yeah, glitch in the system.
Hey, Ghost Glitch, thank you for coming in, man. Again, the bot account thing's optional. You can just use your main account for both of them. Doesn't matter. It's up to you. Very easy to do. I'm not going to do that because I don't want to log out and then log back in, especially not in the middle of the stream. The reason I'm showing you guys this is because if you run into problems setting things up, this is where you're going to go to fix them. These instructions. Like you can use YouTube tutorials and stuff too. That's fine. And I wish this was the new interface. Here's what, okay, this is what it looks like now. So when you connect to OBS, you'll have to do a web server connection. So you'll have to enable a WebSocket server on OBS. And I will show you guys how to do that in just a minute. And then at the same time, you're going to have to enable the WebSocket server on Streamer.bot. Hey, Stone.
What did you do with all the rum?
Thank you for checking in.
Hey, yo, the pizza here.
Are you going to do your daily? I turned the volume down on it. No? Okay. Anyways, the only things you have to make sure is that your port number and your password match. Oh, wait, you're done explaining? No, it's okay. You can do it. I turned the volume down about half. So, but the host, the IP address, 127.0.0.1, that is.
They left out. Throw 'em in the river with the new age gator. Tell 'em it was fate. I couldn't make it. New waves. Pull up with a bang. About to burn 'em in the safe house.
You're good, man. You're good.
The reason that they left out.
You're good. You're good.
Oh, hi. Thanks for checking in. I'm still a piece of garbage.
All right. So this IP address, it is your computer's IP address locally. Like, I know that doesn't make sense. You always think about an IP address as like your computer address on the internet. It is your computer address within itself. So your computer becomes a server for your computer to run the program on. That's basically what a WebSocket server is. It's local. It doesn't use your bandwidth. All it needs is a port number and a password. Whatever traffic that is over that port number, if it doesn't have the connection with a password, it's not going to read that data between OBS and Streamer.bot. I know that's really advanced, but all you need to know is just make sure 127.0.0.1 is your IP address. Your port number has to match between both programs. It should default to 4455, and your password has to match between both programs. You will want to make sure you auto-connect on startup and reconnect on a disconnect. So if your OBS crashes and you relaunch OBS, if it doesn't have reconnect on disconnect, it won't reconnect to it, and it's not going to work. So make sure both of those are on, so that every time you launch both programs, they connect to each other, and then you won't have that issue. You will have to manually connect it the first time you set up the WebSocket server, and I'll show you guys how to do that in a few minutes. The last thing was the extras. Oh, here we go. This is cool. So in Streamer.bot, they have a couple different things. There's a chat, and I'll show you guys that, an HTML overlay, and Streamer.bot decks. The deck is basically like a stream deck on your PC. It's not like the one you have on your desktop with all the buttons on it that you press and to do whatever you want. It's up to you if you want to have something like that. I personally don't, because I have my own stream deck. So the HTML overlay I do use, and when you guys are using emotes and they go across the screen, that's the HTML overlay. So that's where that comes in. You don't usually see it in my gameplay because it only shows up on my screen, but because I'm sharing my screen, you're seeing it now. Usually you'd have to redeem the emote time for, I think it's 200 points. Yeah, 200 points. Usually you'd have to redeem that, and then it would activate. So, but I'll show you guys how to do that too. Very, very simple, very easy. So the other two parts, well, no, the only other part I'm going to show you on the guide here is the API. The API is very important. Every problem I have had, with the exception of one, I was able to solve by going to this API guide. Emo time is unavailable. Yes. You missed the beginning, so all my channel points aren't available except for the check-ins. Just because I want to go through this tutorial and not be interrupted by 100 million different sounds. You can still put emotes in chat. They'll still rain down. It's just not going to be emote only chat, right? Anyways, so yeah, this API right here, every single sub action and trigger that you use in Streamer.bot is available here. Every single one, it tells you what they do and what all the variables that you can use are, and I will explain variables when we get to that part. So first we'll go to triggers. So every action that you create in the application has a trigger that makes that action run, and then a sub action, and the sub action is what is going to happen within that action every time it's triggered, right? So hopefully that makes sense. Just a trigger and then a sub action to finalize it. In the triggers, like you'll click core, and there's all these different options. These will make more sense when you start using the application. You don't have to come here to begin with. But if you have problems and you're trying to figure something out, this is where you want to go. And let's just say we want to like create a global variable, right? These are the extra variables that you can use within the application or within the C# coding. If you're a coder, you don't have to know these, but these are extra ones that you can use. And there's always general variables too. I have never used them, but they're there if you needed them. So that's a bad example. I should have picked something different. Commands is a good one. Command triggered. So you can create commands, and like there's how many times that command has been run, like per stream. So if you want to track like any specific command that users are using a lot of, that's a good one. Raw input is another good one. Raw input I use. Raw input basically takes you can use raw input to capture everything somebody types in a message or in a command, right? And it will capture that. And so like when you do like a song request, which you guys won't be able to, where's Spotify? It's not running. There it is. So like if someone does like song request, lo-fi girl, right? See if it plays it. Add snowman, right? So this lo-fi girl is a raw input that I just put in the chat. So that's what that is. It's basically everything I typed after the command, or everything you typed. If you redeem a channel point, there's information somebody put in that. That's all the raw input. But like you wouldn't know where the variable is unless you came here, right? And the same thing for the sub actions, except for you don't necessarily need all the variables in the sub actions because you're going to use stuff like, let's go to Twitch. You might use them for like if you're sending messages to the chat or you're trying to store data. But let's say you wanted to like run a commercial because you're going to go like to the bathroom or whatever, you're going to go away, and you know you're going to be a few minutes. You can run the commercial for 3 minutes, and then for an hour you won't have any ads. You would just want to send a message to your chat to let people know, hey, I'm going to run an ad while I take a break. Hang with me. We'll be right back. Right, something like that. But all that you can automate within this application. I'll show you how that works. There's all kind of moderation stuff. What happens when you get rated? Reward infos. So when people redeem channel points, what's going to happen? But all the information you need for every single thing. Where's chat? So send message to channel. Of course, it's not going to be on this. Oh, it's under triggers. That's why. So let's go to triggers. We got chat. Where is it? Let's open Twitch first. Chat. Message. Here we go. So, not the broadcaster. Chat variables. When somebody bits, here's the bits. First message. Is it a first-time chatter? Right? We're going to create an action where somebody's a first-time chatter. So we're going to use this one. If somebody's from a shared chat, you can do something. Like there's all these different variables. You can also assign roles to the user. So like viewer, VIP, moderator, broadcaster. And it's just that this variable is going to have a number. And we'll explain variables later. And that number is going to represent whether they're a viewer, VIP, moderator, or broadcaster. But you can assign that through here too. And then user variables. So if you looked under chat variables, the chat is an object, and these are all properties of the chat, right? But there's no user properties in here, right? All the user properties are under user variables. So if they're subscribed, right? And then down here, subscription tier. So you can do things for people or give the people commands based on if they're subscribed or if they are T1, 2, or 3, right? I know that's not super interesting looking at it, but it's important that you know this is where these things are and this is what they do, right? Because this is how you're going to use these things. If you ask me for help, the first thing I'm going to do is to ask you if you looked at the documentation. Know how this stuff works, because it's going to be invaluable when you start building stuff within the app. All right. And the next thing, we're done with the web page right now, right? Like I'm done talking about this. So we're just going to move. Homepage. Here we go. We're going to move on to the actual thing. So when you load the program the first time, this is what you're going to see. This is the homepage. These 4 things up here are the main things you're going to use. OBS, once you configure it, you're probably not going to touch this again. Twitch, you're only going to mess with when you want to mess with channel points. Commands, you will use a lot at first, and then less over time. And then actions are where you're going to spend most of your time. So you're going to spend a whole lot more time in the actions than anything else. In the menu, if you want to go back to documentation, you don't have to load the website directly. You can just click here and it will launch it for you. So you don't even have to open a web browser up. You can do it straight from here if you're having help. So the next thing we're going to go over is OBS, how to connect to it with the WebSocket server. So we're going to change channels, or not channels, change chapters, and it did not work. It worked when I was testing it. I promise it did. I promise it did. Tech commands, chapter. All right, we're going to go to actions, text stream, global variables. Okay, I know what the issue is. It was on 0. Oh, wait, I'm trying to do 1. It's just CH. There you go. It helps I put the right command in. So now chapter 2, OBS. Right, this is so that in my VOD, anybody can tell where we're at, right? What we're going over. So OBS I've got running on my second monitor, so we're just going to switch to that. It looks like a mess right now. Facebook City, thank you for checking in. Don't forget, guys, if you have questions while I'm going over things, I know I'm going over things really fast. Make sure you use that question. Where's that? Right here. Question and answer. Make sure you use that. That way it will go to a text file and then I can go over them at the end. Just kind of rehash things. So if you go up to tools, there's WebSocket server settings. That's how you set up the server for Streamer.bot. Remember that port 4455, right? And enable website server. You have that checked too. Enable authentication. This is the connection that is currently going on my PC. I'm not going to show connect info because that's going to display the password. Also, you cannot use the default password. You have to generate a new password to do it. So when you first do this, hit generate new password, show connect info, copy the password from show connect info. Don't copy it right from here. And then paste it into the website server settings on Streamer.bot, right? And I'll show you what that is. So if we go back to Streamer.bot and we go to streaming apps, OBS, it's right here. There is no add button. That's just one thing I don't like about Streamer.bot. There's no add buttons on anything. You have to right click for everything. But you'd hit add, you'd name the connection what you want to name it. The defaults here and here are good. The default version is good. The password you just type in, auto connect, auto reconnect, okay. Once you do that, you'd right click on that connection, right? And then where it says disconnect, it would be connect, right? So you'd want to connect to it. And it tells you the status on the right hand side. So right now, the current scene I'm on gameplay, I am not recording, but I am streaming. And these are the sources within that scene that I'm on. So, and that's how you do the connection to OBS. Very simple. Gonna hit cancel on that. There's a couple of things I want to show you in here, just because it's gonna make sense when I go over them later in Streamer.bot. So the first thing is in my info overlay. This is not I can't show you that way because it doesn't have the screens on there. That's okay. I can do it manually through here. So we're just going to add, I wanted to show you something because if you do your channel points and any kind of alert images through Streamer.bot, you're going to have to add the image source here, right? But you don't have to do one for every single image. You only have to create one image source. And then within the application, you can change the source of that file, right? So we're just gonna call this one test. It does not matter what image you put here. It doesn't matter. We're gonna unload when it's not showing and hit OK, right? And then it doesn't show up because it's so small. I wanna move it. I can't move it because I didn't put an image in it. So we'll just browse real quick. Streaming, GIFs. Let's just put applause in there, right? And hit OK, right? So now this applause, if I hide it, it goes away, right? That makes sense. When I show it again, it's going to reload that image from the beginning, right? See how the balloons go up? And when it's not showing, it does it again. Like it starts all the way over every single time. And then within Streamer.bot, we can change it from that image to whatever image we want. And I'll show you guys that when we get to it. Audio settings. I can't show you the audio settings because it won't show up on the screen. I made a mistake. I didn't add my browser sources or my monitor sources to my audio settings and info overlays. So I can't show you how to have them set up. But basically, I've got all my mixers down here. They're all in the audio settings. And then I pulled the audio settings over here. The bots right here, that is Streamer.bot and Speaker.bot. Speaker.bot I haven't gone over yet. We're going to touch base on it in just a minute when we get over to integrations. But it's important that you separate your audio tracks because you can control them from Streamer.bot. Not just the volume. You can't. I haven't found a way to control the individual volumes, but I have found a way to mute them and also to disable them. take a drink of my tea real quick. I'm talking a lot. All right. So we're going to move on from OBS. Most of us know how to use OBS, unless you're using Streamlabs. If you're using Streamlabs, I'm sorry. I'm not going over that because I don't use it. I'm sure it's very similar, just slightly different user interface probably. I don't know. I'm only going over the stuff that I use. So this test thing, I'm going to delete that real quick. Yes, we're going to remove it because I don't need it there. And we're going to switch back over to my main monitor. All right, next chapter is going to be like the Twitch integration. So platforms, Twitch. Again, you got two accounts, broadcaster and your bot account. The login to them is very simple. If you have two-factor authentication, which we all should have, you're just going to have to input that code when it asks for it when you try to log in. Once you're logged in, you're set. There are some other things in here that I don't use, like a first words cache. You can leave it at default. Like you don't need to change it. Keep track of viewers. I do keep. That will show up. Where is it? Viewers. Right? So I can see everybody who's in here. But I don't know if this is accurate. So this also works if you're broadcasting on multiple platforms. So if you're broadcasting on YouTube or Kick, you can configure everything through here and control everything from this application. The main thing that I use here is channel point rewards. And this is the part that is probably like the most fun, like for users, like seeing all the different rewards and stuff they can redeem. I highly recommend that you put everything in groups, right? So group, because you can enable and disable them, or you can pause them, right? Enabling and disabling means it removes it entirely from your channel point rewards. So it's not deleted, it's just disabled and people can't see it. Paused means it will show up still, but it's just disabled. They won't be able to see it. Like they won't be able to interact with it, I should say. They'll see it, they just can't interact with it. Rename group just renames it. So when you create an alert, when you create any kind of channel point, I named them alerts. You can name them whatever you want. It just made sense to me. So I've got broadcast alerts. These are things that I need to pay attention to when people redeem them. And then like there's check-ins. And this one is currently disabled because I'm not doing a TLC raid right now. So there's game specific alerts, game specific. So Dead by Daylight, right? And this is paused. See, yes, paused. They're enabled, so they show up, but they're paused. So when Dead by Daylight launches, they will be unpaused. Tech alerts, that's the question, and then viewer alerts. So these are just fun ones for the viewers, fun ones for you guys. So whether you're going to do applause, emotes, whatever, this is all for the everyone else. So when you create one of these, we'll just create a reward. We're going to name it. What should we do? Do you guys want to help me create one? We'll call one test, right, just for fun. Give it a description. So this is what's going to show up on Twitch in the description when they go to redeem it. This is a test. The color will show up on the tile. You cannot change the image from here. You still have to change the image on Twitch in your creator dashboard. User input. So if someone's going to do like a song request, or they're going to pick your killer in Dead by Daylight or anything like that, that's what user input's going to be for. Hi Slade, I see you over there. Thank you for coming in, man. Redemption skips queue. that will make sense when we get to queues. But basically it means that if there's a queue of rewards sitting there, it'll skip everything and go straight to the top. It would be the first one to get, the next one to get redeemed. Cost channel points, how many times can be redeemed per stream? Let's say you want to do shots, but you don't want to get completely wasted, so you might want to put like just 3 per stream. Per user per stream is good for like daily check-ins, and then global cooldown. Again with the shots, like let's say you don't want to take a shot back to back to back, so put like a 15-minute cooldown on it. But it's gonna be in seconds, so like you'd have to put 900 seconds for 15 minutes. Persist counter and persist user counter. So persist counter, you can call a variable called user counter for like, you would call it in an action one of the channel points redeemed. I'll show you the actions here in a few minutes. But so like my daily check-in shows people with arrows, right? Like if I do my check-in, which I never do because I'm the broadcaster.
Hi, thanks for checking in. I'm still a piece of garbage.
Where it says I have 21 arrows, that is the user counter. That's how many times I've done it, right? And persist counter is the same thing. It's just globally, like how many times it's been done for everyone ever since it's been created in your stream, anyways. And the last thing is the group, right? So put it in a group. If you don't have, if the group that you want to put in doesn't exist, create one, like test, right? And then we'll create it, right? So now we've got a test group with a test channel point. But if you do it, nothing's gonna, like I'll click it, nothing happens because I haven't tied it to anything. I haven't given any actions to be triggered by that redemption. We just created, but nothing's done yet. So I'm just going to go ahead and disable it, right? So the chat and the event feed. So the chat that's up here and the event feed that's up here, they are persistent between all of these: Twitch, YouTube, Trovo, and Kick. So if you're multi-streaming, like Twitch and YouTube, or Twitch and Kick, or all three, or even this Trovo one, which I don't know what that is, but let's say you're doing multi-streaming, this chat will include all of that. I don't use this, so it's backlogged. Like this is from a long time ago when I was testing, right? And there's all of them. There's Twitch, and if you're logged into these other ones, you'll see other ones, right? And then the event feed, same deal. Like this when I was doing testing. So this, yeah, this is all for all of it. So the next part, we're going to go over some integrations and then imports. Both of these are not essential to use in the application, but they will make your life way easier because then you're not creating everything to get this thing running. You can use what other people have created and import them into your Streamer.bot to get things running, and that's what I did. I am not ashamed to admit that. Why reinvent the wheel? You know what I mean? So we're moving on to the next chapter. Integrations. So integrations. The website, Streamer.bot website, Streamer.bot. So Streamer.bot's kind of cool. Streamer.bot has an event log. Everything everyone does is in this log, right? Which is kind of cool. So like usually when people follow me, if I'm offline, but I have the applications running, I get the alerts and then I'll see them right here every single time somebody does something. But the reason I got Streamer.bot was so that in my channel rewards, if I go to, scroll down, where is it at? Text to speech, right? I have one. It costs 160 points. It's now ignored. It has an input and it's Ghostface. So I have the Ghostface voice from TTS Monster. It's not under settings. I think it's under, oh, that's not what I want. Voice aliases. No? speech engine. Here we go. So TTS Monster, there are hundreds, right? I only kept a few of them, right? So like, there's GLaDOS from Portal, right? There's Ghostface, Eminem. There's a French accent, Hikari, Kermit. Like, there's all kinds of different ones. Stormtroopers. So you can do multiple different TTS options, but there's a limit. So TTS Monster, I think, has 500 uses or something per month. So I don't go over that. So I don't have to worry about it. And there's other engines you can use too. So like, there's all these other ones, but TTS Monster, yeah, like, it doesn't show up under ad because I already added it. It's probably the easiest and simplest one to use. There are tutorials online on how to use it or how to set it up. It is not difficult. It took me like 20 minutes. And then the other integrations, Stream Deck. So again, you're going to do WebSocket server. You'll log in to Elgato Stream Deck online, and you'll connect to it that way. And you'll be able to control this application with your Stream Deck, which will control your stream, right? And that's how I'm like switching monitors. I'm using my Stream Deck. I'm hitting a button on it, and it's initiating an action on here, which is switching my scenes. I have tried other TTS programs, which is sort of better or worse to me. So this one's the easiest, and it has a lot of options. I have heard that. Where is it at? I minimized it. So let me open it back up. I don't remember which one. I think it's Amazon Poly. It is paid, but it is, like, from what I've heard, like pennies, right? You pay per, I want to say usage or pay per word, but it's fractions of pennies per word or something like that. It's really, really cheap. But from what I've heard, it's better. But I haven't used it because TTS Monster fits my needs and it's very easy to use. Drinking some tea. I'm talking like really fast. I'm a little nervous, if I'm being honest. Going back to integration. So once you get Stream Deck hooked up, the other one I use is VoiceMod. I don't have voice changer set up in here yet. I might, but I have it connected because I do use VoiceMod for my soundboard, and I also use it for my mic, which you guys probably saw a little bit of that when the stream started, when I had some technical difficulties. Wait, 69. What do you mean 69? Okay. You had 69 at TTS. Oh, okay. I missed that. That's funny. That wasn't anything I did, just so we're aware. 69 voices. Gotcha. That was not on purpose. That is funny though. So yeah, voice mod's really cool. Like, they've got a really good soundboard. And like, so I'll just show you guys real quick. So
Guess who? Daddy, no! Daddy, yes!
Bruh.
I can smell you.
Testing. Is that better? There we go. For some reason, it's disabling my mic. Yeah, I don't know why. That's really annoying. So I was trying to say, in my gaming profile, so I've got like home, soundboard, gaming, Spotify, different profiles for different purposes. All of these are tied to actions in Streamer.bot, with the exception of this row right here. So these ones all switch my scenes. So this one is my currently used scene, right? Which is usually be gameplay. But I've got like my be right back scene, just chatting, starting soon, ending. So all that's controlled through Streamer.bot. I just have the buttons here so I can use it. Same thing to launch applications. This one is HTML Splash, that one I talked about earlier, for the emote rain, right? And I can launch Spotify, voice mod, Streamer.bot, Streamer.bot, everything right from my Stream Deck. I don't have to go through my start menu. I can just click all of them, start them all up, and get running. This button here, shout out last chatter. Go somebody type in chat. Doesn't matter, anybody. Can you guys hear me? There we go. Right? I can shout out whoever chatted last with that button. Right? And then I've got like my Discord button, random facts. You know, I'm not going to click the Goku one because that's like a really long sound bit of him saying Kamehameha. Be right back switches me to my be right back scene, and it plays a song, and it sends a message to the chat saying I'll be right back to grab like snacks, chips, tell jokes, whatever. Ad break does the same thing, but it adds a 3-minute ad break to it, and back switches back from my be right back screen back to my gameplay screen that we're on right now. And all these actions I set up through Streamer.bot. The last ones, this row is just my games. Switch monitors is the one where I'm switching to and from like my first, second monitor, right? And then my microphone, I can enable and disable my microphone. So, but 90% of this right here, I just set up through Streamer.bot, and we'll go over that stuff when we get to the actions, which are coming up. But first, we're going to go over imports, because importing stuff into Streamer.bot will make your life so much easier, because then you're not creating everything from scratch. You're taking stuff that has already been created and you're importing it so that, like, if you get a follow, it's going to create that action for you, and it's going to like send a message in the chat, thank you for the follow. And you can add stuff to those, right? You don't have to physically create those. And same thing if somebody does like a gift bomb and they get five subs to your channel, there's an action for that. And then you can add to it whether you want a sound effect, or whether you want to store like who's gifting the subs, or how many subs have been gifted, or how many follows, like all that stuff you can store. Hey, Twisted Sriracha, thanks for coming in. So we're going to go over the imports next. We're going to do the next chapter. So I have to go back to the website to get to this, so that I can show you the extensions. But that's really easy to do. We're going to go to documentation. On the documentation screen, extensions, right there. Right? There's a WebSocket generator for OBS. You just have to log in to do it, and then just put the password in. Really easy to do, but you'll be able to pull your runtime, like how my runtime is in the bottom right corner, where it says 51 minutes. You can pull all that data. Usually it's stored in hour, minute, second, and then 3 digits for the milliseconds. I twisted. And thank you for the first time chat.
Attention
We are
Alien Army, we do have a raid
Smokey's raiding me.
incoming. I repeat, a raid incoming.
No, you're good, Smokey. You have, like I said earlier, you have your own schedule. You don't have to jump in every stream every time. We've talked about it before. You're good. You're good. You're good, Tally. Um, we're going over things. You guys have missed the initial setup and stuff. We're going over some importing now on how to import stuff into Streamer.bot so that you don't have to physically set up everything. The one that I recently added was down here, Mustached Maniac, Spotify 2000. That is how I am able to pause my Spotify music or play it. That's how my little bot account is putting the name of the songs every time the song switches. Like the last one was Echo. The current one is Echo by Indigo Songs. All the song requests, all the controls that are done in for Spotify through my stream are done because of that import. And when you do these imports, make sure it's approved and make sure it's not depreciated. So if you scroll back up, it's got to be approved, and you do not want unapproved or depreciated, because these unapproved or depreciated either won't work or are going to be bad for your system. Like it's going to cause issues with other things, which might cause a crash, and nobody wants that. So just make sure it's approved and that it's not unapproved or depreciated. But this one right here, you'll literally click on it and it tells you everything you need to know. This extension does require a paid Spotify premium account because you need to fetch your queue and get the current and previous played songs, right? So you have to have premium to get this one to work. He's got a YouTube. The YouTube has step-by-step details, shows you how to do everything. It's very simple. I think it took me 15 or 20 minutes. I imported everything, done. And then he's got pictures with a detailed walkthrough of how to set it up, right? And there's also, you can also do, I'll just show you mine. Let me load mine back up. So if I go to my Spotify one, I have way more keys than I need for this section. But it's the same thing that he's got there, right? But I just have it there. But I don't even use it because we just use it through chat. I don't need my stream deck for that. So yeah, I recommend it. So it is going to be work starting out because you have to do all these imports. You have to spend time with it. You're going to spend probably 20 to 30 hours getting everything set up. And that includes learning how to use it, redoing your channel points. If you're going to redo them, you don't have to, but I recommend it. And then just setting other things up, doing your importing stuff like this. There's an import string. So I think you download it from Coffee or Ko-Fi or whatever. I call it Coffee. You don't have to pay him for it. I did. I gave him a $1 tip because I didn't want to just download his file without giving him something. But you'll download it and you'll literally just copy that string. You'll copy that message from the download into the import, right? So like right here where it's import string, you'll just copy and paste. Actually, hold on. Let me see. Is it in my downloads? No, it's not my downloads. I don't know where I downloaded it to. Oh, you know what? Yeah, I do. I do know where I downloaded it to. Streaming. I recommend everybody have a streaming folder too to keep all their information, everything they have for their stream, and back this up. Whether it's a second hard drive, or if you do like cloud-based backups, highly recommend you back up all your files. Because if your hard drive fails or if your PC takes a poop on you and you have to start over, if you don't have this stuff, it is going to be hell getting it set back up. Just putting that out there. So if I go to Streamer.bot imports, Mustache Maniac, this is it, right? So it's MM file. So I literally would just go to import and I will take this right here and put it in here, right? And it contains custom C# code. Make sure you trust it. If it's approved on the extension website, you're probably good to go. right? These are all the commands. Everything that I used, boom, right here. Now it is going to be, it doesn't tell you this, but when you do that, the commands are all going to be red. They're all going to be disabled, right? And so you will have to enable the ones that you want to use. Okay. And it's up to you. You can set up how you want. But like these are the commands. Like it display song link, and we're going to go over how to set up commands here in a minute. But like these are the 3 different commands that you can do to display the link for that song. I personally only use one, but I left all of them in there just because it doesn't hurt. You have all that saved in a cloud file. I do not. I have 2 different hard drives and I have it backed up. So, yeah, I've done a lot of really cool stuff, but I spent a lot of time on it. And that's why I'm doing a tutorial for it, because I want to share. And like I want people to join the stream and to learn about it, but at the same time, I want to kind of like help other people at the same time, because that's how we all grow. So like kind of like support the community that has supported me. You know what I mean? Give back in my own way. And doing stuff like this is free. It's sharing knowledge, learning, teaching. It's all free. Doesn't cost anything. So the other person who does a lot of Streamer.bot stuff, I'm just going to pull up his YouTube real quick. You guys might want to save this. Oh, there he's right there. This guy, Nutty. Right? So we're going to type in Nutty Streamer.bot, right? He's got this one right here, Streamer.bot 101, the Ultimate Beginner Guide. He's going to go over some of the same stuff I'm going over, but he goes over it really quick. It's only a 12-minute video. But in here, let's just click it real quick. Right? He's got his website. Yeah, you can download his starter pack too. His website, where's it at? Nutty.gg. Here we go. Right? You can go to his website, and he's got a ton of widgets, right? And all this is free, and I use a couple of these. So if you go to downloads, you don't want free stuff. You want, is it free stuff? I think it is free stuff. You don't want the member exclusive, because some of those are going to show up under free stuff, I think. So like I use this, the free ad countdown widget. So when there's an advertisement, it tells me what ad number is playing up in the top corner of the screen. And then at the very bottom, there's a yellow bar that goes down as the ads are counting down. Excuse me. I'm like hiccuping. So, but yeah, so I've used a few of his things. I use the multi-stream alerts, even though I'm only doing Twitch. They show up in my bottom corner. I don't use horizontal chat, but some people do. But this is where all this stuff is, and he's already made it all. Automatic OBS chapter markers, Discord stream logger. I don't use the Elgato prompter. So clock, uptime widgets, sub goal. Oh, this is a scumbag one though. So this one updates every time somebody subs to one more, so it'll never catch up. Yeah, your stream is really nice, bro. Very impressed. Thank you. Yeah, he calls it scumbag because it'll never catch up. Because every time somebody subs, this number goes up by 1 too. So it's funny. What? Where does he say that? Oh, are you watching the video? Or is that somewhere on here? I don't know. Yeah, scumbag goal. It is. It is. I almost did it because it's hilarious. But at the same time, like I'm not like that big of a troll. Can't hang but looking brother. Hopes. Yeah, it's been pretty good, Jibber. We're an hour in and we haven't even gotten to the good stuff yet. So again, I use his stuff. He's how I got into this. Like watching his videos. If I go back to my stream folder, I've got countdown timer, which I did not use. I decided to go a different route. So but I have the file there if I wanted it. But Nutty files, I've used a few of his, right? And these are all instructions to websites basically. So let's see. What's a good one? Starter pack, right? It's going to be a URL. We're going to open it. And I'm showing you guys this because this starter pack is going to make your setup easier. What's up, Big Bastic? Thank you for coming in, man. Of course, it's not going to load the video, but there's a video here. Might have to refresh the page. But he's got the video. Copy the following text. This is your import string, right? It tells you put it in the import, right? Enable your commands, and here they are: 8-ball, account age, coin flip, follow age, lurk, Russian, like all these things. Boom, right? Twitch notifications, right? So it's a basic starter pack that will give you all these different actions and commands, right? Just so you're not creating everything. Here's the guy. There's the video. So makes it really, really easy. That was my initial setup with that stuff. Was just using his basic starter pack, and then I added to it. I've added Spotify stuff, the uptime counter, and like I don't use some of this stuff, the horizontal chat, but I have it if I needed it. So we're gonna move on though. So that's pretty much it. So like I said, extensions are in the docs page. So go to your documentation, extensions. There are so many here. I'm just going to Chinese proverbs. Let's say you want to have a Chinese proverb show up every like hour or whatever, or you want to pin one every time you start your stream. You could do that. Emote guessing game, death counters, which you don't need to download something. You can create one pretty easy. There's so many, and some of these are really, really good. YouTube point system, Pokemon game, YouTube, because YouTube doesn't have one, but we do. Hey,
what
Pesky.
did you do with all the rum?
Thank you for checking in. Yeah, there's a bunch. There's so many.
Hi, thanks for checking in. I'm still a piece of garbage.
So like, just go through it, and if you want to do one of them, do it. Like, make your stream yours, and that's how you get to it. So you would literally just come to your menu, documentation, and then click the drop down menu, extensions, and there's all of them there. And then you follow the instructions because everybody lists their instructions. Just like how we're doing it, Streamers helping streamers. So that's pretty much it for the imports. I don't think I needed to keep talking about it. Like, it's like beating a dead horse. So we're going to move on and get to variables. So C# is an object-oriented programming language. Anyone who knows anything about coding knows what that means. Anyone who doesn't, I'm going to give you a very basic explanation of how object-oriented languages work. So in Streamer.bot, this is your, I want to say canvas, your server, right? It's your scope. So your global scope is within this application, and everything you do is going to be within it, right? So Twitch is an object within the scope of Streamer.bot. OBS is an object, right? We as users are objects within the scope of this thing. And within each object are going to be properties, and the properties are identified by key value pairs, right? We have an ad. This is important, so I'm going to wait for the ad to finish. How are you doing tonight, Pesley? If you can hear me. Some people have turbo. Sink or swim by even.
Mr. 305 checking in for the remix.
Thank you for the check-in, David Decay. Or David Decay? I don't know. Abraham's Love Sports Team. Thank you. I'm waiting for the ad to finish before I can go on.
Hey, yo, the pizza here.
What's up, bud?
Oh, hi. Thanks for checking in. I'm still a piece of garbage.
I'm waiting for the ad to finish. Thank you for checking in. I gotta head to bed, but I got one thing to do before I go. What you got? I'm here in my phone late. I'll get that shout out now. I'll shout you out.
Please
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
whatever.
I hydrated for you, Claude. Thank you so much, Smokey. I appreciate that, man. Thank you.
Hey, yo, the pizza here.
All right. So before the ad started, I was talking about variables. Thank you for the watch streak, Pesley. Thank you for checking in, Trevor. And Smokey for the sub, dude. That's awesome. Thank you. So with variables, like I said, within the scope of Streamer.bot, everything is a variable. We are variables. Twitch is variable. OBS. Object. Right. So OBS is an object. Twitch is an object. We're an object. Like I am, you are. Our usernames that are tied to us are properties that belong to us. Right. So within every object is a list of properties, and properties identified by a key value pair, which are known as variables, right? So back in high school, when we did algebra, like X and Y were variables. Variables can change, right? And that's what happens within this application too. So, and some variables can be integers, like numbers. They can be a string, which would be a series of letters, characters, numbers, everything. They can be a Boolean, so like true or false. All these different types, and types are important because you don't want to store a name in a variable that is supposed to be a number, right? Because you might need that number to do some math. So typed variables are important. This application auto types everything for you. You don't have to worry about it. And sometimes if you do an integer, it will type it as what's called long in the app. I don't know why, but it still works. It doesn't affect it at all. It's just something to be aware of. So, but that's how variables work. So they hold a key value pair, and the key is basically what that variable is called, and the value is what that variable holds in it, whether it's a number, a string, like true or false. So if I click on global variables, these are them, right? You can always create them too. Like you can add one, you give it a name and a value, say 1, auto type it, boom, and then where's it at? Test, right? So it's got a value 1, the type is long instead of integer. It just does that. I don't know why. Whereas this one's an int, it's an integer. So, but I can delete it and it goes away. Right, so you can see I've got some new ones here. Last chatter's Claude is updated to King, right? Because he just chatted. So you can see like it's live. It's live, and that's how I do my instant shout outs. So it knows who my last chatter is, like it was me. Now it's my AI.
Attention, Alien Army. We do have a
Thank you.
raid incoming. I repeat, a raid incoming.
Thank you, Jewish, for the follow and the first time chat. Go Squidge, thank you for the raid. I know you had more than one person in there though. Twitch lies. So I appreciate that. So yeah, so this is how I know last chatter. That's how I do my instant shout outs, because it knows who my last chatter was, and then I have an action set up to do last chatter. So there are also non-persisted. So the current Spotify song. It's all the data. It's not just the song. So there's a whole bunch of data in here. Yeah, and you don't need to know all that, but it's there. And then the chapter number, because it's at the end of my stream, this versus chapter 6 variables on the left hand side, that's going to go away. And the next time I do a text stream like this, it'll reset because it's not persisted. It's not going to carry over to the next one. So persisted carries on indefinitely for as long as you run this application. But if you turn it off and turn it back on again, these persisteds will still be here. They're not going to go away, right? Non-persisted will go away every time you restart the app. They won't be there. Persisted user globals are basically the same thing, but you have to select which platform you're on, like Twitch, and like the username, right? So if I type in my name, right, my checking counter's there, and the Discord servers I'm a part of, because I added that to Streamer.bot, just because I'm extra and I wanted to do it. And if I want to add this X God Killer, I can. He said he's from TLC, right? So I'll do TLC add, and I'll put his name in there, and boom. Now he's been added as role. So now if I look up his name, oh, I'm typing it wrong. Hold on. It's Killer. God Killer. There he is. You know, that's the one he's got. So for now, but yeah, that's pretty much it for the variables. And there's non-persistent user variables too. You would use these if you were going to do like a game, like during one of your stream. Let's say you want to do like a Hogwarts style game. You can create houses and auto assign people to the houses, like Slytherin or Gryffindor or whatever, and assign points. And you could do like a point system in there that would reset every stream. That's kind of what you could use that for. I don't plan on doing that. That would be a lot of work to set it up. There might be an extension for it. I don't know. You're almost 15 days. You have more than a 15-day streak. I don't know what you're talking about. You had 20 days yesterday. I forgot what I was saying. Oh, so that's pretty much it for the variables. I'm not gonna go over that anymore. We're gonna move on to commands. No. You didn't hit 20? Who hit 20? Oh no, Claude hit 20. You slacker, you missed a stream. He has less than you? Yeah, I remember you had the 20 streak. I forgot. That's on me. I forgot. My bad, Ghost. You did miss a stream though, if she has more than you. That's on you. All right. So we're gonna move on to commands. If you look, I've got 30, 50, 73 commands. If you don't put them into groups, they're all going to be listed like as default, and they're going to be very like convoluted, right? Because all my moderator commands, we mixed up with my Spotify commands, we mixed up with my viewer commands, and I have to search through the whole list to find what I want. You haven't missed it 14 days. No, that's good though. I'm not ragging on you because you haven't missed it 14 days. I was just giving you a hard time, man. So I'm sorry. I'm just giving you a hard time. I'm being funny. I didn't mean anything by it. So yeah, put them in groups. And there's two reasons you want to put them in groups. One is organization. That's like the main reason. The second is you can enable and disable a whole group. And that's useful if you, let's say you want to do a game where you want to lock in, right? And you don't want your users spamming commands and distracting you while you're playing the game. You could disable just their commands, right? Or you might enable a certain set of commands for a specific game that you play and disable them when you're not playing the game. Thank you, Ghost Glitch. Have a good night, man. Thank you for the raid. I appreciate it. So that's why you would enable or disable, just based on that. So like this tech commands, they're only going to be here while I'm doing a tech stream. The rest of the time they're going to be disabled. That way I don't have these random chapter markers pop up on my stream. So, and then to create one, you just give the command a name. So usually I name it what it is. So let's say I want to name it, I don't know, Claudzilla, right? We'll name it after her because she's an awesome mod. Right? The command itself has to have its own definition. So it's got to be, I'm going to name it Claudzilla777 with an exclamation point. So I'm going to make it match the name. So this is the actual command. This is the name of the command. I make them match. You don't have to. You can name it whatever you want, whether it's enabled or disabled. The group, I'm not going to put it in Spotify, right? I'm going to put it in moderator commands because she's a moderator. And I'm going to grant any or all moderators that command, right? And now, if I go to moderator commands, it's right there, right? And then if I type it in, nothing's going to happen because I have not tied any actions to that command. But it's there, it exists. You don't have to create commands through the command screen. You can create them from the action screen too. But once they are created, this is how you get back to them, right? So if you want to change one from a moderator command to like anyone command or an anyone command to a moderator command, you can come back to this screen and change it. Or you can come back and do some organization or change things up. Wait, I missed the A. What? Oh, I spelled it wrong. You're right. It doesn't matter because there's no actions tied to it anyways. Like even if I do it the right way. I spelled it wrong again. Hold on. Boom. Right? Nothing's going to happen because I haven't tied anything to that command. So I just type it in and nothing happens, right? So we're going to go over the actions now, right? So update my chapter marker to actions. So the action queues where you're going to spend most of your time. Pending actions are actions that have not finished. Something just flashed for a second, probably last chatter. Action history is everything that's happened, right? I'm not going to scroll all the way down, but it's a long list because I've got stuff running in the background constantly. Get last chatter is one of them. Song playing, and then like Discord. Where's Discord at? Discord logger, right? Background actions. So constantly having stuff running in the background. It does not use a whole lot of processing power to do this kind of stuff. This is a very lightweight program. You don't have to worry about having a whole lot of background actions. It's not going to eat up your processing power or your RAM to have these things running. Just wanted to put that out there. But the important part, you're not going to use pending or action history too much. What you are going to use a little bit is queues. Put things in different queues, right? Every queue needs to serve a purpose. And there's two reasons. One is blocking, two is paused, and three is organization, right? Being organized is very important because once you start getting 100 or 200 actions, if you're not organized, you're going to have problems trying to find stuff or change stuff. So always make sure you're organized, like always, because it gets very convoluted very fast if you're not. Blocking is important because what blocking does is, let's say you have two, where's something I can do, there's two of them. I don't have anything, all my rewards are disabled right now. So let's say you have multiple people checking at the same time, right? Or like a TLC raid where everybody's doing the TLC check-ins, right? All those check-ins are going to go off at the exact same time or exactly when they're redeemed, and they will overlap each other, right? So all those sound, like it'll play the same sound file over and over and over and over and over, even though people redeemed them in order. I don't know if that makes sense, right? So, but if you have blocking set up, that's not going to happen. it'll do one, and when that finishes, it'll do the next one, and when that one finishes, so it does them sequentially, but it doesn't overlap. So the audio files don't go over each other. Basically, it's important because you don't want 3 or 4 different sound files playing at once. Like if 3 people redeem like sounds and they're different. Let's say somebody redeems the turtle on sax, right? From me, Squirtle on sax. They redeem that and the applause and like the jump scare all at the same time. They would all play at the same time, and it's going to sound really crappy. So you set up blocking, that doesn't happen. And then paused basically means what it sounds like it means. It's going to pause that cue, so that cue won't finish pending, right? It's not going to like do anything else. So again, blocking, paused, and organization, main reasons to have queues set up. But actions are where it's at, right? And when I said hundreds, I think I've got, I don't know, 150-ish. I'm not going to count. You can like do the math on your own. Pause it, whatever. I don't care. But let's talk about some of these actions. So we got groups, triggers, and sub actions. These are all the groups. Again, organization is important. So automatic actions, right? I have them also listed as background actions. A couple of them show up in the viewer queue, right? These 3, Instafact, Instant Discord, and Instant Joke, are all, there's no trigger for them, right? So the reason they're here, even though they can't be triggered, is because I trigger them from my Stream Deck. Those buttons on my Stream Deck, right here, Discord, Random Fact, Dad Joke, that's them, right? So if I hit Random Fact, even though there's no trigger for it, it still goes off because I have the action tied to that button. And that's just like one example, right? So there's no trigger, but these are what it's going to do, right? So Twitch message, Random Fact, which is what this is. It's going to put that in there. I have that like that so that other people know, any viewer can type in that command and have it do the next 2 things, which are going to be read a random line from a file that I have on my PC, right? So it's going to go to this file, and it's going to put one line in this variable called fact, right? It's going to do it once. So whatever random line it picks, it's going to be stored. It's going to store that one line in a variable called fact, and then a Twitch message with that string is going to play. This way you have to understand what variables are and how they work. And variables in this program have to have, unless they're global variables, they have to have the percentage marks before and after them. Did someone ask something? Okay. I didn't see anybody ask anything, but okay. See, why can I? There it goes. So those are my instant ones. So if I go to get last chatter, right? You have to be careful. You're just pitting it. I got you. Let me hide that for myself so I can see the whole chat. There we go. So with stuff like get last chatter, you have to be careful because you can create an infinite loop. And I did that when I first set it up, but luckily I was off stream, so it didn't affect anything. It was just an infinite loop that would not stop. So this is basically saying in Twitch, if there's a chat message. Let me see. Can I click on it? No? Nothing. I can't even click on it. So we'll just right click because there's no add button. This is my one thing I don't like. There's a search, but I don't use it. I just add. We go down to Twitch. All right. We go up to chat. chat message, right? It's the exact same thing. That's all I did, right? So every time there's a message in chat, this is going to happen, right? So the name of the action is here. This is what triggers the action. This is what the action does. It is going to add target info user. So whoever sent the message in chat, whoever sent this message, their username is going to be stored in a variable called user. And then in my global variables up top, it's going to set a global variable called last chatter to that username, right? So right now it should be Tango Hunter. Boom, last chatter's Tango Hunter, right? Because that was me, because she did a shout out, right? And then somebody else types, it'll change again because their username is getting stored in a variable that is getting set to a global variable called last chatter, right? The reason I did that was so that I could come down here to viewer management and do last chatter shout out. There is no trigger, right? Again, it's right here on my stream deck. Shout out last chatter. So then I can shout them out. What I did the first time I was testing this to get it to work was this Twitch message right here. I put it right here. And so every time when somebody would send a message, it would shout them out. But then it would do it again because my shout out was a new message. And then it would shout me out again. And then it would shout me out again. And then it would shout me out again. And it would just keep doing it over and over and over and over. And it wouldn't stop. And then my pending history like filled up. Like within like a second, 2 seconds, it was full. And I closed the program because I was like, nope, I'm not going to pause it. I'm just going to close it. And then I would fix it after that. So just be aware, you can create infinite loops. You don't want to do that. If you do that on stream, it's going to be a problem. So don't do that. There's a couple other things. So Discord stream logger I got from Nutty. DVD rewards I set up. So anytime there's a stream update, if it's a game, there's a 1 second delay. I added the delay because it doesn't update if you change games from Dead by Daylight to another game right away, it knows you're changing games, but it sees Dead by Daylight first, right? But that delay keeps it from seeing Dead by Daylight. It like the switch already happened to the new game. I don't know if that makes sense. So if the current game equals Dead by Daylight, what it's going to do, if it's true, it's going to unpause the Dead by Daylight alert, which is in my reward queue. So we go back to platform, Twitch, channel points. This one right here. It's going to, these 3 perks, or these 3 channel points. It'll unpause them. And then it's going to send a message saying the channel point rewards have been enabled. If the game is not Dead by Daylight, it's going to pause them and it's not going to send a message. We caught the rough lit. Well, a couple of us did. Sorry, Jibber. So like there are things you can do like that. That's how you would set up to have certain commands disabled. That way they're not redeemed when you're not even playing the right game, which most people wouldn't, but you know, there are people that are special. So like Jibber. Just picking on you, bud. So stream start, background actions. It's going to set the active scene as starting soon. I think I had something else set up for that. I haven't finished yet. And then there was another one I don't have set up, which is current uptime. I haven't finished this one yet either. I'm going to finish setting it up at some point later on, because I have plans for that too. We're going to move on to channel point redeems, because this is like the bread and butter. This, like, people love channel points. All of my channel point redeems are in here. It's like, am I the asshole? It's going to that source file that we created earlier. which right now is in my info overlay, which you can't see. So you select your connection, right, which should be your default. What scene it's on, right? So I have it on my info overlay. You would select it. You want it to be the GIF, right? So the source, I named it as GIF, right? GIF. And then you set the file name. So when you do it that way, I would have to do it. I can't show you because I don't have my info overlay set up to show my screen. It's basically setting that source to this image, right? And then, like, let's say somebody redeems applause, it would set it to the applause GIF, right? So it's setting the correct image into that file, right? And then what it does, it makes it visible. And because we set up the so I deleted it already, the test image, because you clicked like reload image when it's visible or whatever that was, it'll start at the beginning of the animation for that GIF, right? And then I have play applause, right? So for the duration of this audio clip, because I picked finish playing before continuing, you should always select that for everything, because you don't want your sounds to overlap, like I was talking earlier. You want them to finish before it moves on to the next thing, right? So always make sure you check that, unless you don't care. So I don't care to name it. I just use the file name, which is the applause, right? It plays at 100% volume. Percentages with volume are weird. 3 times the decibels is twice the sound, right? So to cut this volume down in half, I would have to slide it from 100% to 33%, and that will cut the volume in half. It's not 50% because decibels work differently. So I don't know if that makes sense, but if you look up the way audio works with decibels, 3 times the decibels is half the sound, or twice the sound. And then when that audio file is done playing, it's then going to hide that GIF. And then I put a delay after it so that if there's another one right after that, like let's say people redeem 2 of these back to back, it the animation doesn't loop from one to the next. I don't know if that makes sense, but it just trust me on that one. I put a delay in there of a second. It only takes half a second, but I put it in for a whole second. And all these are like this. And so you don't have to create this over and over and over and over, right? All you have to do is duplicate it, right? Now you've got an applause copy, right? You would just rename it, click a different channel point. You have to have it already created, right? And then you can just change this to a different file, right? And then just change this to a different sound, right? And that's all you have to do. So you set up one, duplicate it, and then do it for the rest of them, as long as they're all going to be the same style. So you're not redoing the same thing over and over and over and over and over. You can literally just duplicate that action, change the trigger, change. Thank you, Slade Killer, for the follow. Looks like we met our follow goal. And then one of the ones that people like, actually here, we'll do Punish Tango first, right? So in Punish Tango, I'll wait for the ad to finish for anybody watching.
It's Mr. 305 checking in for the remix.
Thank you for the check-in. I did hydrate just now while I'm waiting. My voice is getting rough though. All right, that should be done by now. So thank you for Slade for checking in and following. I appreciate it. So we're just going over some actions right now. I'm gonna go over 2 fun ones. So one is Punish Tango. Basically, I use a PNG tuber, and there's a file that has the tomato on it. I don't have it in this scene selection, but basically, what happens when somebody redeems this channel point for Punish Tango, it sets that file to be visible, which is going to run the animation. It's going to run the video. There's going to be a delay, and that delay is how long it takes for that tomato to go across the screen and hit my PNG tuber. When that happens, it'll hide my PNG tuber and replace it with an angry version. And then 2 seconds later, the tomato is going to disappear because it slides off my face, right? And then 4 seconds later, I change it back from the angry tango back to my PNG, and then there's a delay for a second before it starts the next action, right? So I set all that up because I thought it'd be fun. And I think I paid like $3 for the tomato file on Etsy. So it was fun, easy to do. Took me like 5 minutes to set this up, if that. I think it took me longer to create the actual channel point than it did to set the action up to do it. The other fun one that people like to do is what I call the immortal user. So this is tied to the current channel point that is named Kira Lee. It's disabled right now, so you're not going to be able to use it. Or it's paused, I should say. It's not disabled, it's paused. There's a lot of steps. This one took me a while to set up because I had to figure out how to do this, and I was still learning this program. So first thing it does is it gets the user that redeemed it, right? It's going to set the global variable up here to that username, right? Once it does that, it will set the cost by adding 1 to the cost at the time of run, right? So right now, let me look in here, it costs 316 points. So if someone was to redeem it, it would go up to 317. It's going to set the title as her name, right? It would set her name, right, as whoever the immortal user is, which right now it's her. So that's why it's showing her name here. But let's say someone else did it, it would replace her name with that name. It's going to send a message saying they're now immortal and have claimed the channel reward for themselves. There can be only 1 to replace them. Find the name of the channel point rewards and redeem the prize for yourself. It has a minute cooldown. That's not in the message, but I let people know. It does display a GIF and it plays the sound of it, and then it hides the GIF again when it's done with the sound, and then there's a delay for a second to move on to the next one. But all these set up, that's how I did it. So I created the channel point in here, gave it a 6-second cooldown. It originally cost 1 point. I put it in the check-in group, just so it'd be easy to find, and it makes sense to be there anyways. And I gave it the description and everything. I made the background color black. I don't know why, because I did. And then I created the action here. I tied it to that redemption. When someone redeems that reward, this is what happens. And anyone else can do this. So if you decide to use Streamer.bot, you can set this up you can literally just pause my stream, look at what I did, and set it up. And all these things we're going to create an action right now. So let's do one for first time chatter. We're going to do it in viewer management, I guess. We'll do it in viewer management. We'll add one. Viewer management, we want to do the queue to be background actions. We don't want it to. No, put in the viewer queue. We'll put in the viewer queue. We'll make it part of the queue, right? Because we're going to play a sound file. So we're going to do first time chatter, right? Okay. We're going to come up to our triggers now. We're going to add a new trigger. We want Twitch, chat, first words, right? Leaving the empty, using the username empty is considered a catch-all and would trigger any first words event. So what this means is that in my stream, if I leave it empty, anyone who types, if it's the first time they've chatted for that stream, this will trigger, right? Even if they chatted in other streams before, it's per stream, right? So any user, first words. Now we're going to go here, and we're going to add Twitch user. We're going to get user info for target. And then I'm going to go back to, no, hold on. We're going to go back to documentation. That's why I said you need to know these things. Sub actions, right? In the API, we're going to go to Twitch, not chat. We want user. Where's it at? Here we go. Users. Get user info for target. And then there should be one. Where is it? That's not what I want. Hold on. Maybe it is under triggers. Hold on. Let's go back. Twitch. Is it under chat? It might be under chat. There's chat. Chat's up here. Here it is. First words. Twitch chat variables. First message. Is this user a first time chatter? Here we go. We're going to copy that. See, this is copied to clipboard. We'll come down here. Add Twitch user. Get user info target. We want to capture their username. So we're just going to type in user with the parentheses, not the parentheses, but the percentages, right? Before and after, because it's a variable, right? Now we're going to go to add. And then we want an if else statement. So under core, we're going to go to logic, if else, right? So if that user variable, hold on. That's not what I want. I'm going to say if they're a first time chatter. Actually, here, add. No, that's right. I had it right. So logic, if else, if first message equals true. That's what I wanted. If first message equals true, true result, we're going to add, we're going to go to core, system, no, not system, sound, play a sound. And I don't have a sound to put here yet. We don't want user sounds. Try to pick. We'll do yay, just for fun. You can test it. If you don't like that volume, half the volume would be 33%. Right? So I think it's a little bit loud, but it doesn't need to be half the volume. So I'll just come down to 70%. I think that sounds good. Hit yes. So if they're a first time chatter, that should play. Yeah, thank you, bud. The music here is going to make me fall back asleep. I'm sorry, Pesley. But let's say it's not. Like, let's say it's not their first time chatter. Or you know what? Here, let's continue with the result. We're going to add something else. We're going to Twitch. We're going to send a message to the chat. We're going to reply to their message, their first words message. Reply to it, right? And we're going to say, thank you for coming in. Where are you coming from? Here, not a comma. We'll do a period. Where did you find us at? And how is your day? Right? Something nice. We can send it from the bot account or the broadcaster account. I think it means more coming from the broadcaster, right? Because like no one really cares to respond to AI. Some of the stuff I didn't even know how to do. I've learned all this on the fly. I started streaming in September. I got affiliate in October. I started using this program. I'll tell you when. When did I download it? I downloaded this program November 11th. So between November 11th, or November 1st, sorry, 11/1. Between November 1st and now, so 2 months, I've learned all this stuff. But I already know coding, so for me, a lot of it was pretty easy. Aria, you slacker. Why are you just now following? Waiting for the response. She might be muted. Because you suck. No, you don't suck. You don't suck. Oh, see, look, there we go. So first time chatter, right? Because we literally just set this in. It replied to her message and says, "Thank you for coming in. Where did you find us? How's your day?" Right? So I'm sorry, I'll do better in the future, I promise. No, you're good. You're good. Life gets the best of us sometimes. So I don't hold it against anybody. I do appreciate you coming in, following, hanging out, supporting the stream. It does mean a lot. But yeah, so we just set this up. So let's say their first words that stream, but they're not a first time chatter, right? So we'll set one in here. We're just going to add, we'll just do a Twitch message. We can send a message to the channel, or no, not to the channel. Sorry. We're going to send a response. So reply to that message, and we'll use the bot account for this one and just say, thank you for being here and supporting the stream. You are part of what makes this community great, right? A little sappy, but it's fun. You just came from Aria stream. I was in there earlier. I downloaded Minecraft. So I'll probably join the server at some point. Not sure when, but that's a different topic altogether. So like we just did that. So we just did the first time chat. So if you wanted to do certain things like automatic check-ins, you could do the automatic check-ins from these first words, right? So like the way I have mine set up, the channel point redeems, the Discord check-in, right? You could set all this stuff up to go through this first time chatter, right? You could do that to automatically check them in. That would be one thing you could do. Some people do that. I think it's really cool, the people that do it that way. I would rather have a check-in point for it.
It's Mr. 305 checking in for the remix.
Arya, we're going to add you to the Dynasty server. So, Dynasty add at hidden Arya. Boom. And pizza. We'll do pizza too. Pizza party add, which you could do it yourself if you wanted to. You could just type in exclamation point pizza party. Did I spell it wrong? It didn't work. Why didn't pizza party work? Let's find out. It should work. Let's try again. Pizza. Oh, let me spell it right. Pizza party add at hidden Arya. Enter. It's not working. Why didn't that work? Commands? Moderator. No. Yeah, moderator commands. Pizza. Oh, it's just pizza ad. That's why. It helps if I type the command in right? There we go. So make sure you type in your commands right, or they won't work. All right, so next time you do Discord check-ins, it'll automatically check in for those Discord's servers, and then my text file. Here, actually, I'll just do it this way. With like Discord check-ins, it'll automatically put you in Dynasty, Jesus Christ, and Pizza Party. So if I can talk right. We're just going over Streamer.bot. So there was one other thing I wanted to do to set up. So we just did first time chatter. We set that up. I'll change a little bit of this later. Like I'll change the sound file from this yay one to something else. But yeah, so first time chatters will be that. And like if you're not a first time chatter, it's going to reply. And oh, he didn't actually type. He redeemed a channel point redeem. Yeah, he redeemed the thing. So if he had typed in, it would have done it. We're doing Streamer.bot. So it's just a tutorial. So now he typed in. Now it's going to do the response. And
What did you do with all the rum?
Hey, yo, the pizza here.
I'll wait for his things to finish. There we go. So my AI bot responded, "Thank you for being here and supporting the stream. You are part of what makes this community great," which is that message I just set up here. Right? So let's do another one, but this time we're going to add, we'll keep it in the viewer queue because it affects viewers. And we're going to do watch streaks. Actually, no. We'll put it, hold on. No, that's a Twitch notification, right? And so we'll put it in the Twitch queue. So watch streak. Okay. Which these are the ones that say Twitch notification in front of them. They were imported from Nutty. When we went over the imports earlier, those were them. So, but anyways, watch streak, again, very simple. Right click, add, come down to Twitch, chat, watch streak, right? You can create a minute and a max. I probably will at some point, and have different actions for different ones. But for now, I'm just gonna let it trigger on any value, any watch streak, right? We're gonna hit add, and we're gonna go to core, and we want to play a sound. All right, so we're gonna play sound. We're gonna use the file name of sound we want to finish, and let's find the file. So I think I had one for watch parties that I had saved in preparation. I thought I did. Sounds, is it under here? It'd be called watch streak. User sounds. Did I not save it? Streak. It's called Streak. That's why. Boom. We'll test it.
Sorry, we're going streaking through the quad and into the gymnasium. Come on, everybody!
Yeah, there we go. Watch streak. Right. That's a fun one. So somebody does a watch streak. There's that. We can also send a message to the chat. Or we could do other things too, like moderation. We could add a VIP. Send a shout out. Right. Let's send a shout out, and we're going to do it to that user. But so where it says user login, there's currently no name in here, right? We're trying to send it to a user, but it doesn't know which user because we haven't pulled the username from this redemption. So we actually have to pull that user information, get user info for target, right? You have to declare the variable before you can use it. Like imagine trying to solve a math problem for a variable that you're missing, right? If you don't know that variable is there, you're not going to be able to solve the math problem. This is the same thing. The variable user that we're trying to send a shout out to, it's not in there until we add target info for that user that redeemed that, right? So we have to declare this user before we can send the shout out to them. So we have to put that above it. So I always put it at the very top, just in case there's any kind of a delay. And the reason we have to do it is because it is a per action thing, right? So other actions will have the same thing, right? It resets for every action. It doesn't keep that same user variable for every action. So every action has to have its own user variable, and you have to pull that from whatever's being done. I don't know if that makes sense, but I tried to explain it the best I could. So we're going to send a shout out to that user, and it's going to be a Twitch shout out. It's not going to be like a custom shout out. So now we've got like watch streak set up. There are a ton of other things you can do. I've got stuff set up for followers, right? These increment. No, hold on. This Twitch message was the only thing that was in this original import, right? And then I added this little bit. Currently, that many followers following. And so every time somebody follows, it increments my global variable by 1. Yeah, so followers 422. I didn't know that there's built-in stuff for this when I did that. So I might change this later on and use the built-in variables that are already created. They just don't show up in here. So if I go back to the documents, let's go to, where's it at? It's not first words. Sub actions. That's what I want. Twitch. We want users. Get user info for target. I forgot what I was looking up. I got sidetracked. Brain fart. Oh, followers. Follower total. That's not going to be under users. Follower total. Followers. Get follower count. Oh, get follower count. This is important. This is why you need to know it. Follower count. It's already there. So, oops. There we go. Let's try an automatic action. We're going to add get follower counts background actions because we don't want it to be locked up by other actions. Add, it's going to be under Twitch, right? what do we want to trigger it? I guess a follow, right? Follow. Somebody follows. Then we will add Twitch followers, get follow count. There we go. What variable is it stored in though? It doesn't say. We just named follower count. Let's give it a shot. Let's simulate this, right? So we're gonna add Twitch, we're gonna add chat, we're gonna send a message to the channel, and we're gonna call it follower count, is right? I don't know if this is gonna work. So let me just double check. Yeah, follower count. I spelled it right. I can't copy it. That's the thing that's throwing me off. And then I'm going to go back over here to Twitch notifications. And I don't want these to go off. So we're going to disable it. New follow, right? Because I don't want to change any of this information. I don't want it to change my my stuff. So now, if you want to, where's it? Get follower count. If you want to test something, which you should do all your testing off stream, but if you want to test something, you would right click on it and test that trigger. But if it's something like a follow, you don't want to test it. You want to simulate it, right? So you simulate. My alert showed up. Okay, yeah, and it did. It put in chat 421. Okay. Which I think my follower count's off by 1. Right? So it did put in chat 421. So I'm going to unenable that. I'm going to mess around with this later to get my follower count in there. But now I know how this works, so I can just come over here, re-enable, and now if I simulate it again, it's gonna do all that stuff, but it's gonna change my follower count and my follower goal might update. It's gonna play this sound bit. I don't want to do all that. I don't want it to do all that. That's why I disabled it. So and that's why I'm not going to simulate it. Simulate this because it'll set all that other stuff off. So yeah, that's how you basically create actions and sub actions. It is not terribly difficult. I do wish there was an add button and that a separate screen like popped up. Like I wish it was this way. Like if you want to create a word, see how this pops up. I wish that something popped up with like options instead of having to come through, right click, and whatever options are here. Like there's recent, so you don't have to go back to add if you want to kind of do something similar all over again. But I wish you didn't have to come here and do drop down menus for like, or right click menu, or you know what I mean? Like I shouldn't have to. This should not be a thing where I have to go through. And like, you know what I mean? Like it's just it's silly. That's the only thing I don't like about this program. It's not really user friendly, so I'll just say that. So moving on. Anybody got any questions? Yeah, it is a lot. It is a lot. That's the only thing I don't like about it. Oh, the other thing. So before I move on to the Q&A, so where's something that has code in it? Execute code. Right? So this program uses C# as a programming language. You can add code to it to do certain things, right? You have to know C# to do it, but when you do it, you can save and compile it, or you can just save it and not compile it, but save and compile before you finish setting everything up. And this code will execute, within the action before it moves on to the rest of the sub actions. So like this code right here, then it's going to come over here to Twitch announce, and all these variables that are right here are within that code, right? User subscribed with tier to title case, and then it's got an emote, right? So basically saying whatever user, like let's say it's Claudzilla subscribed with tier 1 or tier 2 or tier 3, And then all this is stuff that I set up. So I set my global last sub to the user. This is way I could update my overlay that displays in my normal stream. So there's that. Upcoming ads. There's not. Here we go. Execute code, right? It creates a progress bar. It's not a lot. It's only 32 lines of code. So there's a lot of stuff you can do. If you know how to code, you can code it to do so much more than what it does without the coding. Your imagination is literally the limit. But anyways, we're gonna move on. Any questions? We only had a couple that were redeemed. Yeah. Stonekum wants to know other TTS programs. We went over that, and Sussy wants to know what we're trying to build, and we answered that question as well. Anybody want to know anything else? I know I went over a lot. If you need help or you want help setting stuff up, let me know. All right. Yeah, I'm gonna need help. That's fine. That's fine. That's why I'm here. So I know it's a lot, especially if you've never done any coding before. There's a lot to learn. So, but let's go ahead and finish up the stream. My pillage window's over and everything, so I feel like now's a good time. And actually, let me see. Is Princess Ronnie still on? She's doing a 24-hour stream for her affiliate anniversary. Let's look her up real quick. Nope, not my mod view. I thought for sure I had. Not my mod view. Did I see? I heard myself. Let's go. First, let's see. Yep, she's still streaming. So we're gonna go ahead and raid out to her. I do it this way. I don't know if there's an easy way, but this is how I do it every time. It's a hassle. So, and I'll go ahead and end the stream. And tech end. That should reset everything. There we go. Yep, that reset everything. Thank you everybody for coming out. I appreciate you guys. If you guys need help, add me on Discord, send me messages. I'm more than happy to help. Thank you for coming in. And copy my raid message. If you dare. Wait, why do I have to wait? Raiding in 1 minute. Oh, here we go. Raid now.